Hello and welcome to It's Fate. I'm Morgan Barker.
I'm Katie Christiansen.
And I'm Dayna Martinez again.
Woo woo!
Our special guest.
Yes. So Dayna is here today to cover our last episode of A Court of Mist and Fury, covering chapters 61 through 69. And then we will be doing some fan casting with her. So stay tuned for that at the end of the episode. Okay, so I have our Pequot of the day.
Okay.
Personal question of the episode.
Okay.
Pequot. Hardback or paperback?
I personally like hardback better. I think
Mhm.
they're just prettier and they're easier to hold open. And paperback, the front gets all jacked up.
Yeah, I agree. What about you?
Oh, no, I like paperback.
Yeah.
They're easier to hold. And I like to be like snuggled. I
Mhm.
do like how hardback looks, but
Yeah.
I feel like paperback is more practical, but
Mhm.
hardback has the durability.
yeah.
So especially for the books that you really love, it's nice to have the hardback.
But I can't keep it open for paperback.
Mm.
Like the hardback, I could put it on my knee and it like kind of opens. Because I'm not holding it with one hand ever.
We need to get those little book bean bags. Have you seen those on TikTok? I think I sent it to one of you. It's like a miniature bean bag that has a ledge, and there's a little like strap you put over your book, but it's really easy to flip down, and so your book sits there, and then every time you turn the page, you just flip the little latch down and flip your page and put it up, and then it just stays, and you don't have to hurt your wrist or hold anything.
That's acceptable because my wrists always hurt.
Same, especially with the big books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to need some then. Or you guys can have some. I'll keep my paperback and I'll just fold that. Not that I ever fold it. I don't know.
I find that issue of my wrist though with paperback and hardback.
I know.
It's also impossible to read a paperback huge book.
yeah.
I did it with
You
Kingdom
can't.
of Ash.
Really?
So did I, actually.
No. All of Sarah J. Maas's are paperback, aren't they? Are there?
She has both,
Mm.
but the hardbacks are just so much more expensive. It was like a difference of $100 buying the Throne of Glass.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I could spend $70 or $170.
That's a lot. That's a
Mhm.
big difference.
Okay, well now you know a little bit about us and the books we like.
Today, if you can see us, we're wearing red.
Yes,
And this is because they go to Highburn and there's lots of blood.
blood will be shed.
And we're sick of wearing black and gray and sad colors.
We were like, oh, we could wear gray for Highburn or black for the Cauldron. It's like we wore black or gray like the past 4 episodes. So here we are.
Red for blood.
It's Katie's idea.
Well, because they kept mentioning like Cassian's blood everywhere. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
here we go.
here we are.
Soaked in Cassian right now.
I
Ooh,
wish.
I'm not mad about that. Oh, all right. Well, let's get started.
Okay, so chapter 61 and 62, they head off to Highburn with the plan that Reese will be dropped off at the coast nearby, while Azriel and Cassian fly, and Mor and Feyre winnow to a small sea door near the bottom of the castle. Something I noticed while Feyre is flying with Cassian is that when she's like looking over Highburn and she finally sees it, she says that it looks like a spider that had been waiting in its web for a long time. And I'm like, yeah, it's because he has.
It's a
Okay.
trap.
It's a trap. It's a trap. They didn't trust themselves with the queens.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're not trusting themselves with Highburn. I'm like, oh my gosh, please.
It all felt so rushed, too. Just the whole plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, next day. Here we go.
Here we are.
Yeah. So then they enter in, and Feyre is able to slowly follow the pool of the cauldron throughout the lower levels of the castle to locate where it is. Cassian and Azriel kill anyone they stumble upon, and they find the cauldron in a dungeon sitting upon a dais.
Okay, I have a really hard time still picturing the cauldron, something that is meant to make hot liquid like stew, being the creator of the universe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't get it.
No, I mean it's a unique concept,
Yeah.
but that's like unending liquid that has power. It's hard to wrap my mind around.
And they're just dragging that thing everywhere.
Apparently, they're just like it's this massive cauldron that bodies can fit inside, but they just carry it around the castle.
It's kind of weird that like their creator of their world like is there. Like it's accessible to them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like it's physical, they can see it. I don't know. It's strange.
And that they can hone its power. Like typically a god or some sort of creator cannot be honed by lesser beings and used for evil or for good, you know? So it's very unique. Also, as Farah gets closer to the cauldron, the Book of Breathings keeps saying home, home, which I feel like is a really big sign, kind of like the spider in the web, that they shouldn't be there. Like this is not good.
That book away from that cauldron.
Bad things will go down.
Yeah.
Okay, so then Feyre prepares to read the spell that Amren had given her and touches the cauldron when suddenly it's like she is not in control of her own body. Something I noticed is the book called Feyre Princess of Carrion?
I can't remember. I actually looked up what this meant though.
It's like death, right? It's like dead being, like
yeah,
dead
and like
things.
decaying flesh, like stuff like that.
Why do you think it called her that?
Do you have an idea, Dayna?
No, I don't even remember it saying that.
It like greets her and it's like Princess of Carrion.
I feel like it's used more than once as well. And I don't know, maybe it's because Farah ends up being involved with a lot of death. I don't know.
Maybe it's because she murdered those fairies.
That's a good one, and it's like a trigger for her.
I kind of like that because it would know her triggers. You know, it's like this all-knowing. That's
I like that.
I would think that it's like a foreshadowing, but I don't think Farah's gonna like have more of a character arc. I feel like it's done.
I agree.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So she cannot speak the spell and suddenly thinks she will be a master over both objects. So she just joins the book together.
Yeah. So it felt like she was being coerced by these magical objects. But I remember reading it the first time and being so pissed at her.
I was still pissed.
Yeah. Do you remember how you felt when you read it? I know it was a while ago.
When she was doing the spell and
like it didn't work.
Like
totally
she fucked everything up.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand why they thought they were going to outsmart someone who's been planning this for so long, and they just were a ragtag crew who thought they were just going to run in, and Feyre like doesn't even have control over any of her powers.
Yeah. Ragtag crew. I like that.
They're not the inner circle. They're just a ragtag crew.
Oh my goodness.
I can tell you. So we can tell there's something going on with her friends, but like Feyre is still in like this enchantment type thing. So we don't really know what's happening until Feyre turns and she sees Jurian right there.
Dun dun dun. Okay, so this is a little bit of a spoiler for the third book, ACOWAR. Jurian, in this moment, Jurian calls Farah a stupid fool, and it comes off as very condescending in this moment. But knowing what we know about Jurian and his miniature character arc, do we think he meant this in a more genuine way, like, you stupid fool, like, get out of here, or in that condescending tone?
I think he was like, you are so dumb.
Same.
Why are you here?
Right. He's probably like, I had a plan and you're messing it up.
And you're messing it up. And now he has to switch whatever he was going to do. Yeah.
He's very convincing.
He is.
Yeah. So in chapter 3, Jurian shares that he was able to see everything while in Amarantha's ring and remembers it all, which is so creepy. He asks about Miriam and appears to still be obsessed over her. Moore says that she's dead, and Jurian calls her a liar and says she has always been a liar, which is interesting because this seems to come up a bit, and Moore's gift is also truth. So do we think, like, what do you think this means, and how does this potentially impact her gift of truth?
I think she can still lie. I just don't know if, like, when she's trying to, like, empower, like, have her power with her, I think that's how, like, she couldn't lie if she's trying to access her power. But I'm not really sure.
I don't understand her power, but I remember you guys talked about it in one of the other episodes. When she says that about her power, like, oh, I have the power of truth, was she getting information and then telling them that it was true? Or was she saying, oh, because I said it, it has to be true?
I don't remember. She was revealing Valaris to the queens and was like,
I think she was trying to convince
that's
them,
right.
Like, you should believe me because my power's truth.
But she's a liar? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't really get it.
I don't get it either. And I don't really think we, like, have seen her power.
I think it's just a plot hole.
I think so too. Like,
honestly, yeah.
I don't dislike Moore by any means, but I don't really have a lot of, like, I just feel like there's so much more that I hope we get.
Mhm.
But she's a little like Amryn to me, where I'm like, do we really even know you that well? You're not that scary. I don't really understand who you are. So hopefully we get more of her. Okay. They attempt to all winnow out since they see Durian. Farrah tries to take the cauldron with her, which is funny. But they cannot and realize that they can't use any of their power. And so if they could winnow, and if they even thought they could winnow with the cauldron, why didn't they just do that in the first place?
I honestly think this last part of the book like makes it not that great of a story, because I feel like there's a lot of plot holes and like confusing, and you don't even know what the characters are thinking. You're like, what? This is horrible. This is a horrible plan.
I know. Everything's super great until these last few chapters.
Yeah.
Durian reminds them that Amarantha's spellbook was actually the King of Highburns, and now he has it back, which is why they can't use their powers. Farrah describes feeling as if someone is squeezing the tether between herself and her power so tightly that nothing can flow through. I thought that was a good description, because it's not like it's broken. It's just like clogged. Ew, that's kind of a gross word. The King of Highburn enters. He is described as having shoulder-length black hair and ruddy, which is red-toned, I had to Google that, skin. He wears practical clothing and it is of average height, which I feel like this is the first average heighted male we've seen. They're all like 6'5".
Well,
6'10".
he's a villain, so SJM is like,
he's 5'6".
He doesn't get the glory of height. And he has depthless, hateful black eyes. Farrah calls him blandly handsome.
I really love that SJM kind of just made him like not obsessed with like his looks or even like riches or anything like that, because I feel like other villains who are like that, like they have a weakness, right? But for him it's like, you do not care about worldly things, you don't care about your
only
looks.
Power.
You don't care about riches, you only care about power.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah. An ash arrow is fired into Azriel's chest in order to make them follow the king. And the way ash arrows have been talked about this whole book, how Farrah, the first book, kills somebody with one shot. I'm like, how are all these people not dying from ash arrows? It's like ash arrow through the chest. But don't worry. I mean, spoiler alert, he doesn't die.
Has anyone actually been killed with an ash arrow in these books?
Other than, what's his name? Andres, the wolf from the beginning? I don't think so.
I don't think so
Only
either.
People who are in the core group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say something very nerdy. You know what? I'll do it anyway. Star Trek fans, you know them as red shirts. They're just like the side characters that die all the time. So only the red shirts die from ash arrows. Okay, so they walk through the castle where there's no furniture and no art. The Fae are described as having dead eyes. Do you think they're just super evil like the king, or do you think there's a possibility they're under a spell?
I think there's probably a mix of people there. I think there are people who are probably really evil. Like, I don't know, I'm thinking of like the Court of Nightmares who like love that. And there's probably also people who the King of Highburn has under his control for who knows what.
Or maybe, I would say if they all have the same eyes, it might be a spell. Or maybe he gives them some of his magic and it makes their eyes like that.
Ooh. I like that too. And the king is described to sit on a throne surrounded by human bones. And then Lucian and Tamlin walk in. What?
Okay. I just hate Tamlin in this moment so much.
He's awful.
Something else I noticed was that Farrah says the throne room is basically like exact same as how Amarantha had her throne room. And I'm like, she had no creativity.
No.
She stole Reese's idea of like the Court of Nightmares of like having a court under the mountain. And then she can't even think of her own throne room. She's just ripping everyone's ideas off.
She had bigger business to attend to. She had a lot more ideas.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so it turns out that Tamlin made a bargain with the king.
Stupid.
Yeah. So if the king gives Farrah to Tamlin, he will let the King of Highburn use the spring court to enter into the human realm and take down the wall, and that Farrah will work for the king.
Tamlin is literally insane. Insane.
Yeah.
Like, why does he think this would make Farrah want to go with him? Or make, like, even if Farrah was under some sort of spell, let's just say, from Rhys, and this makes her come home and breaks that spell, what makes him think that Farrah wouldn't be so pissed, Because all she's ever cared about is the human realm and wanting to protect them.
I feel like he does not know her at all.
No.
Like, he just forgot everything he knew about her and, like, was like, you love me, so you'll do whatever I want.
She probably would have rather, if she was in her right mind and Reese really did take her, she would have rather just stayed there under his spell rather than him doing that, than Tamlin doing that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to add on it that he's like, oh yeah, Farah will work for the king.
What? She has to be evil now?
Yeah, I guess so.
No.
Yeah.
He didn't even want her working with him, Tamlin. Like, he didn't even want her around, and now she's supposed to work for this evil king. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little crazy.
So Jurian then plans to kill Reese and his friends. Supposedly. Who knows?
Yeah, that's just what's like
said.
Saying.
Yeah. So the whole time this is unraveling, Lucian just appears to be really caught off guard.
Yeah, what do you think he actually knew? Because obviously, I think he knew that Farah would be there. But outside of that, what do you think he knew of Tamlin's plans?
Nothing. He probably was just like, thought that they were going to break in. He was going to make a little deal and they were going to like steal her. I don't know. He definitely didn't know that bargain.
No.
Especially with him being away from the Supreme Court, right? We see him like early in the book trying to like go get like kidnap Farah basically. And then he says like he was at the day court. Anyway, Lucian hasn't, you can see that he hasn't, I don't think he knows a lot. I don't think he does. I think Tamlin is annoyed at him or something.
I don't think he asks questions either because he knows Tamlin's not going to answer them.
He very blindly trusts Tamlin, even I think when he knows that things are not that great.
So Tamlin continues to argue that Farah needs to come home and she's been manipulated by the Night Court.
Yeah, he clearly doesn't believe there's any reason why she would have left or anything that he did wrong.
He's perfect, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Tamlin says he was gone so much from the Supreme Court. He's like trying to explain himself. And he's like, Farah, I was gone so much because he was trying to find a way to break the initial bargain that she had made with Reese under the mountain. I just don't understand why he didn't tell her this in the first place. I feel like if she knew that, she wouldn't have been so upset with him being gone so much. When she'd probably be like, oh, let me help. We can go somewhere safe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, he has a lot of issues.
He does.
For sure.
Yeah. So Farah somehow wills a spell to release its hold on her enough to winnow out of Tamlin's reach. Reese then punches Tamlin in the face and everyone gets ready to fight each other when the king and Tamlin realize that Reese and Farah are mates. Okay. To add to Tamlin's dumbness, he somehow thinks that Reese tricked Farah into being his mate. How is that possible?
I think he tricked her into. I think he thinks that Reese tricked her into accepting the bond, or into like maybe not even accepting the bond, but has,
liking
like,
him at
forced
least
her into. I don't know. Clearly, he thinks some force was involved.
Yeah.
He's out of his mind. He's delusional.
Yeah.
Delulu.
He is.
Tamlin is Delulu.
Farah threatens to destroy Tamlin and his court.
Foreshadow.
And the king brings in the cauldron along with the 4 remaining human queens and Farah's sisters.
It's literally.
I don't know if you guys are going to talk about it, but I don't remember. Does Tamlin know that the sisters are going to be brought, or
No.
the I forgot her name, the crazy
Ianthe.
girl, Ianthe.
Yeah, it was
Did
Ianthe.
that?
Yeah,
Okay.
but we're gonna talk it because in this next episode in this next chapter we kind of go into it.
Okay.
The King of Hybern explains that Reese's spying on Hybern and everything actually inspired his evil plan to like rope them in here. He made Jurian his emissary to the humans, and he met with the queens to convince them to work with Hybern to get the cauldron and protect the book from Reese. So because Reese was kind of snooping around from the beginning, that's what set all of this into motion.
Okay. I feel like this seems like a little bit of a self-fulfilled prophecy that the King of Hybern wasn't really planning anything, but Reese thought he had a plan, so then he had to go like snooping around. Why do you think Reese felt this way? Why do you think he thought the King of Hybern was like up to something?
Well, he definitely wanted to start war. So I think Reese thought he was getting ahead of the game of like, I'm going to figure out his plan and maybe try to prevent war. And although war is clearly inevitable, this just made it worse.
Mhm.
So, what do you think, Dana?
I think, ooh, too nice.
Sorry.
I think that he would have had the King of Hybern would have had a plan. There's just no way that eventually he wasn't going to have a plan. So I feel like he thought he would have already had one. Because wasn't he looking for the cauldron already? So, like, what, he just wanted the cauldron to sit and do nothing with?
Well, he had a plan with the cauldron, but he didn't even plan to involve the Night Court specifically. But because they went snooping around.
But he said he didn't have a plan. But, like,
I think it was referring to like a plan for the inner circle. Like, or
He didn't really specify. He just
Yeah.
said, I didn't really have a plan, and then restart poking around. So I was honestly a little bit confused.
I don't know either.
I
Yeah.
thought he was saying, like, he didn't have a plan for the book. Because he
Mm.
wasn't looking for the book, and then he realized Reese was looking for the book, so he thought, "Oh,
I think
it's
that's what it
definitely
was.
out there."
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
He was content with the cauldron until he realized Reese was looking for the book. That makes sense.
I guess Reese was just too smart. In that sense, he was smarter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He thought the King of Hybern was smarter than.
Yeah.
he
Yes,
was.
exactly. Yeah. So the queens agreed to work with Hybern in exchange for immortal life through the cauldron, and they're going to be using Farrah's sisters to test this theory, which is scary. The king reveals that Ianthe is the one who sold out Farrah's sisters, just like Dana said, and wants Prithian to be ruled by the high priestesses. So we knew that she was sketch. Now we know.
She's a wench.
Ooh,
I
I
like
like
that
that word. She's the worst.
Mhm.
He starts hurling his power at them, and Cassian's wings get shredded, hence the blood on our clothes.
Poor Cassian. Something I noticed is that the King of Hybern's power is described as pure white, which I think is very interesting because he's evil, but his power is pure white.
Mm.
Do we know any other Fae who have pure white magic?
Ooh.
Tamlin's
is gold.
and then Reese's is black.
Is the Day Court, like the healer, the healing power, is that white?
It might be, but I think it's
They're
just
different
described
powers.
differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I'm trying to think. I don't know.
It was just something I like noticed because sometimes villains aren't what they seem to be. And so I was wondering if he wasn't what he seemed to be, if he was not just a Fae, if he was something else. I don't know. Like Amarin, or I don't know.
Right. I don't know
Yeah.
either. That's an interesting observation. Okay, so the guards, nope. Tamlin tries to lunge for Farrah, and she gets away and pulls a knife out on him.
Okay. Take a shot every time Tamlin makes a dumb decision, and you'd be completely plastered by the end of this chapter.
Seriously.
You really would be. He's an idiot.
Make this episode a drinking game. The guard grabs everyone, and the king tells them to put Elaine and in the cauldron. So when Elaine is put in, Nesta screams, and Cassian, even all bloodied, reaches for her as if he can't help it. Yeah.
This is why I'm in love with Cassian, okay?
I mean, we've seen him be very protective over Nesta before.
Mhm.
Tamlin is demanding the king to stop and goes to attack him, but is leashed by magic. So if you take a shot every time Tamlin actually tries to defend Farrah, this would be the only time you ever drink.
You
The
would not be
whole
drunk.
series, you would be super sober. Elaine gets dumped out of the cauldron and is now a fae.
Okay, I forgot this part, but then I was reading it and I was like, okay, I get why Dana's obsessed with Lucien a little bit. I love that he's like so concerned about Elaine even before the big reveal of them being mates. Like when she first was brought out, he was like screaming like stop before she went in, and then when she was dumped out, he was the only one to go to her and was like, we're not just gonna like leave her laying on the floor. Like, and she like cringes away from him. So I don't know if she's just like, oh my gosh, you're a fae, like I'm scared of you, but I just love this about him. Yeah, sweet.
He's always so sweet. He is sweet. And he loves Feyre, and he knows that those are her sisters. And
So, okay, this is totally a side note, but when we posted our, like, which Akhtar male do you love, and you said Rhysand, I was surprised you didn't pick Lucien.
well, he's like bestie.
Lucien's her hot BFF who's obsessed with her.
Rhysand is lover.
Okay. Poor Lucien, always friend zone. Always. Oh my goodness. Okay, so then Nesta's taken to the cauldron, and she fights with every ounce of her body before she goes under, and she points to the king as if in threat. And I was reading, and I was like trying to do that. Like, how does one convey so much through a
I
gesture?
literally cracked up when I read that part the first time. I just couldn't imagine her.
I thought she flipped him off.
The first lips? No, she was like, no,
I
she
know,
pointed.
I know she pointed. I figured that out after I read it, after I saw like memes about it. I was like, I literally thought that makes more sense. A flip off makes more like than like a point. A point seems to be.
I imagined when I read this, I was like, what? That she went fully under, she was fully submerged, and shoved her hand out
That's what I pictured too.
and found it. Like, just her hand was out, like, pointing
So there
at
wasn't even like a facial expression associated it. That's what I. That's what I pictured too. And Farrah's like, within that point, conveyed that Nesta will get her revenge. It was every death threat under the sun. And I'm like, what's a powerful point? My goodness.
Okay. While Nesta is like screaming and fighting, Cassian, he's like passed out because he's lost so much blood. But it says his eyes flutter open like an answer to a call in his blood. Oh, I love it.
We know who Katie wants her lover to be. When Nesta comes out, Farrah said she appears different somehow than Elaine did, as if the cauldron had been forced to give her something. Obviously, we know Farrah is like very observant and somehow can understand things that we don't really understand.
Yeah.
But what do you think made her appear so different? Like, how would Farrah know this?
I feel like Reese is really powerful and people can like feel that presence. So I don't know if it almost just like she just felt like she had this like otherworldly presence. I don't know. What do you think, Dayna?
I feel the same way.
Okay.
That they can just feel her being powerful.
Yeah, that makes sense. And when Nesta comes out, the leash on everyone is loosened so they can stand and move. And Nesta immediately runs to comfort Elaine and she pushes Lucien away. And I didn't notice this last time, but I noticed it said when Nesta ran to Elaine, Elaine was standing there just like staring at Lucien. Do you think she felt a little something too in that moment?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't remember that, but like if she was, yeah. Why else would she be staring at him?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. But I'd never noticed that before. And I feel like that's the only moment that we get a little bit of her being like interested.
And she probably didn't even know like what it was, right?
Mhm.
Because she doesn't know a lot about meats. I mean, I know they knew that Faye had meats, but she probably doesn't know what that feels like or
totally.
is like. Yeah.
Yeah, and so then Lucien looks at Elaine and suddenly out of nowhere just says, "You're my mate." Why does he say this now? It's such a cringe to me.
Okay.
I think he's very overwhelmed, just like
Mhm.
she is. And I think, when you say something out loud, when you don't mean to say it out loud.
I do that all the time.
Yeah, he's like, oh my God, you're my mate.
Oh my God, girl.
You're cute too.
I actually rereading it, it was less cringy to me.
It was more for me.
I never was
Mm.
mad. I was never mad at that he did that. Like he can't make a perfect decision every time.
I was just like, they are in a state of kerfuffle. Like
Yeah.
everyone just had so much drama. Yes, and everyone, like, people are dying, ash arrows, shredded wings, betrayal, cauldron, and he's just like, "You're my mate."
I wonder if it was like, because we do know that Lucien loved someone before, and he thought that that girl was his mate.
True.
And so I wonder if it was just like, oh my God, like this person I used to love, who I thought may have been my mate, who died for me, was not my mate.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it was just shocking.
I'm sure it was. It still was just like, come on, man. Keep it in. Till later.
Till later.
Okay, so the youngest queen is about to go in the cauldron when Reese interrupts and offers a bargain to the king. Farrah starts to panic and feels like a huge failure and starts screaming her head off and flashes a bright light for Reese, but for everyone. But she was like, this is a signal for Reese. She then connects with her day court magic and starts breaking the wards in the castle. Okay. I know this is a fantasy book. It's not
I already
real.
know what you're going to say.
How am I supposed to believe that this girl who has never broken a spell before, who's had no practice, can suddenly break ancient spells in a castle with an ancient powerful king? Come on.
I know. I was like, this takes so much training.
Also, if she could do that, why didn't she do that in the moment where they grabbed Elaine and were going to throw her in the cauldron? That would have been the moment to like have so much hot rage that you could possibly, have that much adrenaline. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, she was probably like so shocked too. I guess same as Lucien when he said the main thing. But
It just seems random.
it does. It seems to come out of nowhere, but also it's a really cool moment. I think it's supposed to show us like how powerful she really is.
Yeah.
Like she is equal with the High Lords in terms of power. So
Like Reese couldn't do that.
I know. Look at that.
She's more powerful than Reese, the most powerful High Lord in Prythian history.
Oh.
Okay, when she stops screaming and glowing, she pretends that she doesn't know where she is, and she runs to Tamlin, and while trying to mind speak to Reese to get everyone out.
Mhm. It seems like everyone else in the ragtag gang, as we now call them, catch on to the fact that Farah is doing some sort of ruse.
Yeah.
Ruse. How do you think they knew that? Are they just trusting her? Like, do they feel like they know her well enough, or?
I think so, and I think they're kind of used to scheming, and everyone else thinks they're like evil and stuff, so I think they're kind of used to having to think about like the social game aspect of it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I scrolled accidentally. Here we go. Okay, so she tells the king to break the bond and tells Tamlin to take her home and that she doesn't want to do any more killing.
Do you think this extra step was necessary? Like, if she broke their wards, why couldn't they all just winnow out?
It's dumb.
I know, because she really but then she wanted her revenge, didn't she? To like ruin Tamlin's life.
Well, yeah, but I feel like she didn't like that could have been done from afar.
And if she's like now suddenly not under Reese's supposed spell anymore, she could just like not accept their mating bond. Like that happens. She can like choose Tamlin over him. You know what I mean? If she's suddenly like out of this fog. I don't know why she did this. I don't know if it was like to like further get Tamlin to like trust her maybe. I don't know.
And maybe she didn't think they could all winnow out fast enough, especially with Nesta and Elaine. I don't know.
So Tamlin tells Reese he will end him the day Farah wants him to.
Dun dun dun.
Literally never.
Tamlin literally says he doesn't care that Farah is his mate and that he is hers. I don't think I realized that Tamlin knew that they were mates when I first read this.
Like, yeah, like he doesn't think it's fake. He knows that that maybe they are, but like he doesn't care. And he literally says, "You think you own her, but she is mine." And I'm like, okay, Tamlin. He said that almost as like an insult to Reese of like you can't own her, but then you're literally saying you own her.
Yeah, he's like, you don't own her. I do.
Yeah. How dare you? She's my property, not yours.
I'm the one who paid her dad.
Yeah.
I give her the mansion, okay?
I'm owed.
So then the king breaks the bond.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when you first read this, did you think that he broke their mating bond?
I did.
No.
I didn't either. I thought he was like, I'm like, oh, he's breaking like their initial bargain, but
how was he that powerful? I didn't think. I don't know what they thought, but I didn't think that.
I literally forgot the initial bargain existed. Like that was so far out of my mind. I was like, oh, that's not even a thing anymore.
I just don't think Feyre would have put that on the line.
Yeah.
If she knew that it would actually break the bond.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The inner court, or the ragtag crew, as we're now calling it, winnows away with Feyre's sisters, and Lucian starts freaking out already that Elaine is gone, and in his mind, she's not safe.
Yeah, it's interesting because it seems like mating bonds move at different paces with different people, and I wonder if it has to do with emotional maturity.
Honestly, probably. Because Reese was like, yeah, you can just go marry someone else, I guess. I love you. But
and he was definitely like distraught about it, but he's not like in this white hot rage about to murder everyone who is around Farah.
I want to be like Lucian. What's her favorite color? When's her birthday?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then you can't be mad.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, then the king realizes that the book is gone and he doesn't know how his words were broken. And Tamlin winnows them away just as the queens are preparing to enter into the cauldron.
And then right at the end, we get a chapter from Reese's perspective and then one from Farah's perspective. So in Reese's perspective, they return home and Amren demands to know where Farah is, so they fill her in. And Reese reveals that the mating bond cannot be broken, and the king just broke their bargain. Reese also reveals that Farah is their high lady, and she just sacrificed herself to free them and became a spy in the enemy court with a direct line to him.
Why do you think we get Reese's point of view now? Because SJM does this in other books. It's
Mhm.
only like the main character, and then she's like this one, this one, this one. But why do you think now we get Reese's point of view?
I think it's to show us that he is like aware of the plan and he knows what's going on. Yeah.
Something I think she kind of does is like once the main character is like kind of has people to trust, then we
Mhm.
get like introduced to like other people's point of view.
Yeah. I liked it.
Yeah, me too. And honestly, I was really disappointed that Amryn was like, you need to go get Feyre, our high lady from the spring court. And I'm really glad that Reese was like, no, I trust her.
Mhm.
She's my mate, and she's smart, and she's strong, and she can protect herself. She's fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, Amryn, come on.
I
I
know.
liked it though because it showed that Amryn actually cares about her and isn't just like, I don't
True.
care what happens to her. She always tries to act like she has such a hard
Mm.
exterior, but shows that she actually cares about Feyre. She was desperate to get her back.
That is true.
And they are so, now that they know Farrah's their high lady, like they will be just as loyal to her as they are to Reese. And so they're probably like, our high lady is in danger. Like we have to do anything we can to keep her safe, even if they know she can take care of herself. And then we get a chapter from Farrah's perspective. They arrive at the spring court, and Farrah is filled with traumatic memories, but is much stronger than she used to be and is ready to play her part. And by stronger, I mean like emotionally and mentally. We get vibes that Lucien is suspicious and doesn't believe her.
I love that he's suspicious. I feel like he can be really insightful when he's not like blinded by Tamlin's plan and his like devotion to Tamlin. You start seeing how Lucien can be cunning and smart.
Like the fox mask from the
Yeah.
first book.
Mm-hmm.
And then the book ends with this exact line. Tamlin unwittingly led the High Lady of the Night Court into the heart of his territory. And I was like, ah!
It's so good.
It is. It was the
Yeah.
perfect ending.
Yeah.
You know she's about to rip that place wall from wall.
Uh-huh. It's, yep. Can't wait to cover that in the next book. Okay, so that is the end of A Court of Mist and Fury. Book rating. So 1 star, you didn't like it. 2 stars, you won't reread, but probably won't recommend, but it wasn't bad. 3 stars, good book, would recommend. 4 stars, great book from beginning to end, but would make some changes. 5 stars, the creme de la creme, wouldn't change a thing. What do you think, Dana?
Well, it's hard when you explain it that way. This one's my favorite one, so I think 5.
Yeah.
But I guess now that we're talking about the plot holes, maybe I would make some just a few changes.
Yeah, that's one of, I feel like, the downsides a little bit of like dissecting a book and rereading it, because I think I would have rated this a 5 the first time, but now I rated a 4, which is totally fine. I feel like like 5s are very, very rare. But you start to see the things that don't make sense. It doesn't mean the story is not still amazing and one of my favorites, but 4 for me.
Yeah, because when I'm reading it, I'm like, oh, I don't really understand that. Well, I'll figure it out later. Oh, I'm sure they'll tell me later, and then I don't realize that they never did tell me later, and I just forgot about it.
Yep.
Honestly, the ending really kind of
It's the ending.
It's the ending. It's like a 3.75 to me. I'm like,
I'm all about
ending is
decimals. Let's do it.
I liked it, but the ending, I was like, this was too rushed.
Yeah.
Like, I think maybe stuff got like edited out for like,
Yeah.
I mean, this book is huge, you know,
Yeah.
but the ending, I was like, it was too rushed.
Yeah, if we did decimals, I would probably say 3.75 as well, especially by saying 4 stars is great book from beginning to end, because I don't feel like the ending is good. I feel like the very end, like with Farrah going back to the spring court, I liked that because I was like, oh, I cannot wait to see what she does. But the whole Hybern situation was just, I mean, yeah, the book would have been longer, but even just adding another 50 pages could have made a difference.
Yeah.
We talk like we write books all the time. Just another 50 pages.
I mean, she wrote, how long is this book? What's another 50 pages to her?
Exactly. Okay. It's time to fan cast. Woo woo!
Let me get my cellular.
I'm excited.
Me too.
Okay, wait, who are we doing first?
Okay, so first up is Cassian.
Okay, this one is definitely not from my own brain. This is what the internet thinks, and I also I agree with a lot of the fan casting that everybody likes, but I've tried to do at least a little bit different. But for him,
This is it.
This is the man.
This is the man.
What's his name? I don't want to butcher it. Where is he on here?
right here?
Yaman? Can Yaman? He's like Turkish or something.
Ooh.
Let me show you him.
Yes.
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 Wait, is this the guy from TikTok
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
who does the Cassian? Like,
Oh, I don't know if he does.
I don't
that.
think he does. I think people just use him in fan art a lot.
They have, yeah.
okay, there's
videos.
another guy. I don't know what his name is because I can never find his actual videos. It's always like a stitch or something. And you know how you can't always, you always haven't
Yeah.
figured it out. And he looks very similar to this guy, but it's not him the more I look at it. And
At
I don't
it?
even know.
At him.
Did I say it? I meant the,
The picture.
the picture. It, the picture. He, the man. Yeah, just look at that. Look at that if you're on YouTube.
It's just, I can't do better than that. So
No.
No, I agree. And the
That's it.
hair's nice.
there's not, because I like, kind of wanted to do them all like similar age ranges. 'Cause
Mhm.
it's weird to have like a 40-year-old and then a 25-year-old. But
That's hard.
like, it's hard to find like a early 30s big burly man. Like, it would be Jason Momoa
Yeah.
if like we were casting
Yeah.
for real. But
Yeah.
okay.
All right, next up is Azriel.
Okay. Everybody likes Matthew Daddario, which I also like,
Mm-hmm.
but I tried to think of one in my own head. And I think Charles Melton or Jacob Elordi would be good because they're both brooding. So this is
Mm-hmm.
I like him.
Charles Melton.
I like Charles.
I like him too.
He could also be Reese.
Oh, yeah.
And then Jacob Elordi. I feel like everybody knows what Jacob
yes.
Ooh. I thought I liked Charles, but
I would say like spend like a month a little tanner. He just needs
Yeah.
to be a little tanner to me.
he looks a more appropriate age to me.
Mhm.
Yeah. And who's next?
More.
More, I always think of Sydney Sweeney.
Oh,
She's
Yeah.
a good one.
she's so pretty.
I like her big
That's
eyes.
the dress. That's Moore's dress.
Yeah, I
Like-
always imagined more blonde. I don't know
Same.
if they've described her, but
I think she is, and she wears red a lot.
okay. Who's next?
Amryn.
Okay, I have two for Amryn. Okay, from Squid Games, that girl Jung Ho Yeon, I think that's how you say it. She just looks like she.
Yes, she looks
Ugh.
very moody.
And very
I like that.
like
Mm-hmm.
cunning. I don't know if that's the right word, but just
She
like
looks
she has a lot of power.
smart.
Don't mess with her.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or Jenna Ortega.
For like a younger
Mm-hmm. She
vibe
just looks
as well.
like she could be. And they always describe Amryn as being little, like
Yeah.
small.
Yeah, that's true.
Everyone knows it.
What's the first name of the other gal? What was her name?
Jung.
Jung. I like her.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay, two more.
Okay.
The villains. Highburn.
Highburn. Okay, I didn't realize he had like tan skin. Or
He has
red.
like reddish skin.
So
Ruddy.
is he like?
Ruddy skin is typically described for people who are like alcoholics.
Okay.
Interestingly.
Oh, I didn't know
So like
that.
Like
Mhm.
it could be a white man.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
I
like-
pictured like
Santa Claus could be described as ruddy.
yes. Okay, I get that.
Yeah.
I think Matt Smith.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he plays such
a
good
good
villains. Wait.
Yeah, I love that.
Someone call him. Someone
Okay.
call him up. That's perfect.
And he's like blandly handsome.
I would agree. And imagine him with the
Yeah.
the black hair. That's
yeah. I was
longer.
thinking Alexander Skarsgård too, but he's too hot.
Yeah.
And then
Jurian.
Jurian. I thought of this one last night, and I was like, yeah, Avin Jogia.
I love him.
Wait, that's so good.
I was like,
I couldn't
he
even like picture
would.
what I pictured Jurian in my head. I feel like
he
he's
could
just,
play, I feel like, Azriel or Cassian too.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like that choice.
Ooh. Me too.
yeah.
These are so good.
Thank you. I was proud of that.
I'm really proud of them too. Wow. Okay, last but not least, we have to do an MFK.
Okay.
Cassian, Azriel, Reese.
This is easy. Marry Reese, bang Cassian, kill Azriel. So easy.
Dayna's like, this isn't hard at
She's
all.
like, I've thought about this every day, every night.
I mean, yeah, I have thought about it. Easy.
I would agree.
No.
Yeah, I don't know too much about Azriel yet. We haven't read any scenes from Azriel. I know what Cassian's throwing down, and I know that I love Reese. So
Oh, you would marry Cassian,
I
wouldn't you,
would
Katie?
marry Cassian and F Azriel, and I'm killing Reese.
You're psycho.
You know what? Reese had his moment in my heart, and then he decided to be an idiot in Silver Flames, and I was just kind of like, okay.
Wait.
I actually don't. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it later.
MLK is a matter of opinion, but sometimes it's actually just wrong. It's a wrong answer.
Well, you don't have to. I'll just be marrying the love of my life.
After you F Azriel,
And-
please let us know what it's like with the ghost babies.
Okay, marrying
Honestly, I feel
Cassian,
like I
that's
made it
not
better.
crazy. Like, I could even though I love Reese more, I think he comes with more baggage than Cassian. I think
Mhm.
Cassian's not as much in power, so he'd just be easier to be with. So that's not crazy, but killing Reese in what world?
In my world.
Cassian would not let you.
Well, sorry.
I'm shocked.
Sorry,
I thought
babe.
you liked Reese.
I do like Reese, but you know what? I just have gotten bored of
You
him.
said kill with hate in your heart.
I said kill that guy. I was gonna say something else, but I decided to change my mind. That's the thing. I love Reese. I really do. But I just really don't like his storyline in Silver Flames. Like if it was
A lot of people don't.
yeah, if it was like this Reese, maybe, but
Mhm.
he's like tainted for me, and it's like too much. But I love him. I mean, could I do MFF?
I know, because like you're down to going blind for Azriel. You don't even know.
I kind of want the excitement.
Ooh.
I'm like, Elaine, get out of here.
You know what? Every episode we talked about the shadows, Katie was like, they sound so cute.
Honestly, the more I thought about it, reading this book, the more I was like, I kind of like Az. He's just kind of like mysterious.
Oh, I like them
I
all.
think he's very sweet. I do like Azriel too,
Mhm.
but
You just don't know him that well now.
I don't know enough about him to like kill others over him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, on that note, Katie and Dayna are no longer friends.
I'm just trying to kill your husband.
Wait, what would you do? Oh, you did the same.
I would do the same
Same.
as you. Yeah.
But I feel like you're more.
Although-
because it's correct.
yeah, exactly. But I also would definitely prefer an MFF.
Yeah.
How about MMM?
I'd marry all of them.
Let's take some brother husbands, please.
It's
Oh my
consensual.
gosh, they would serve all your needs.
Azriel's
Like one for
sweet.
each.
Azriel's sweet. Like I feel like you could talk
Mhm.
to him.
Mm-hmm.
Cassian, you already know. Reese. I don't know. He's like all in one.
That's actually kind of true. Which is why he'd be the perfect husband.
I think I would beg to differ. And
I literally picture Reese as my husband.
It's not fair
When I
because
read it.
We know too much about Reese and not as much about Cassian, and even less about Azriel. So we know so many of Reese's flaws because we've seen so much of him.
I like
You
his
know?
flaws though, because he's open about them, he recognizes them, he talks through them. Man's not afraid to apologize, admit he was wrong. That's a good one. That's a good egg.
I don't like men who choose what things to do with my body.
Okay,
I'm like not remembering. I know the storyline, but like,
Okay,
I'm
we-
so blinded by love that like I'm like,
no, he definitely makes
made
a
a
big
mistake.
mistake. They figure it out.
wait, I can't remember. what
Barely.
he did
Okay,
so
this is going to
bad.
be a big spoiler if you haven't read Silver Flames, which I feel like most people who listen to our podcast have read the
Yeah.
whole series. So I'm just going to
Okay, just go for
talk about it. Feyre gets pregnant, remember?
Yes, I remember that.
She gets pregnant in her like Illyrian form. So then her
Yes.
baby, they find out, has wings.
Yes, I remember this all.
Okay. Feyre, she's gonna die. The like healer person, like nurse, big doctor.
And he doesn't tell her.
He does not tell her that when she gives birth, she will die. He just keeps that to himself.
See,
and then
it
Nesta
didn't-
saves her sister's life.
It's about time Nesta did something useful.
I agree. I totally agree.
Wasn't he trying to find?
Sure, but why aren't you including Feyre in on this information? This is her body. This is also her child that she's growing. I'm sick of it.
I'm pretty sure he was advised not okay, yes, it was not a good choice. It didn't rile me as much as I know it riled a lot of people. But yeah, I could tell.
I read that and I was like,
I'm pretty sure he was advised not to tell her by healers, and maybe I'm wrong.
Because it would, like,
Hurt the baby.
yes.
Like her emotional distress would hurt the baby.
what about Feyre?
Well, it could hurt her too. I know he shouldn't have done it, but
Yeah.
at least he had that's an impossible position to be put in.
It really is, but I just
If your husband was pregnant with your baby and you knew that by telling him you could kill your baby and your husband,
You would at least have a hard time.
You'd at least grapple with it. I would have.
I
Told
guess,
him,
but
I
what
would have told.
what's the I'm just trying to think what's the fate of it? So he doesn't tell her. She has the baby. She dies, and maybe the baby dies as well. Like the outcome is the same whether you tell her or not.
Mm-hmm.
They're both dying if you don't.
Yeah.
Which one is it?
And maybe she could have helped.
I just don't think it's a mistake worthy of choosing to kill him in MFK.
Well, Azriel won me over with his little shadow babies. Cassian is just, you guys know I love
Everyone
Cassian.
loves Cassian.
Everyone loves Cassian. How could you not?
He's like the teddy bear of the group, but he's also can break your neck with a snap of his literally just being like,
and that's hot.
oh, okay. We know what Katie likes. All right. Well, next week we will start a new book, A Court of War and nope, not war, Wings. I always say war. A Court of Wings. Okay. A Court of Wings and Ruin. Yeah. And we will be covering chapters 1 through 10 of that. So be sure to follow us on social media, TikTok at It's Fate Podcast, YouTube at It's Fate Pod, Instagram at It's Fate Pod, and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.